Okay. I'm Georgie Weston, Bangalore in '73, didn't ever quite graduate, came close. Signed up for Callison program at UOP originally because I liked to do yoga. And that was the only thing I knew about India, pretty much. And couldn't imagine wanting to do anything else really collegiate and academic. So my real aspirations were more in learning about other countries, religions, philosophies, and the description for Callison matched that. And since my parental units were insisting that I go off and get educated now, and I said, well, the only thing I really want to do, Mother, is go to India, and that decided it. Plus, I'm a legacy. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, graduated UOP. And I just learned that my maternal great aunt graduated second class from Stanford, which is, we digress, but the women in our family like to get educated. That's the point. Let me see. It's been a rough afternoon here. I probably have, like, this is, you know, sweat and tears and everything. This is a part of a picture of me back then. It's me in the corner. Let me see. I stayed in Stockton after sort of fading away. I didn't drop out. I just kind of faded away and stayed in Stockton quite a while. Got married, had my first child here, moved to Chicago, moved back to California with 2 children and no husband. Raised the children. They're both bright, brilliant, challenging people. Okay, that's my family. And they're really the center of my life, along with my external life was them. My internal life was pursuing the spiritual and philosophical questions that I came into Callison with and that got really stoked and re-examined and illuminated while I was here. Many thanks to all the educators. Larry Meredith, of course, stands out, but everything in Heritage of Man, everyone that was pushing us to question things and not jumping on us for having the right answer, which was tremendously helpful, left me with the expectation of life that there were always going to be questions, that it was legitimate to ask questions, that it was a worthy path to be on, and that the questions that were out there sometimes were much more worthwhile than the answers, that it was the path of inquiry and the path of open-hearted compassion, approaching other people and other cultures with great curiosity, opens many, many doors and keeps hearts open as well, which is, I think, part of my guiding system. So I don't think the values that I carried with me came from Callison. I think I was born with them, but the Callison experience legitimized them, fostered them, fueled them in a way that ensured that they would stay alive with me. And recently I did graduate from someplace. I graduated from John F. Kennedy University and changed course a little bit. I'd always described myself as an Asian Studies and Cross-Cultural Anthropology student, which is probably pretty accurate. And so for JFK I went to science and studied the sciences. And they're not hard science at JFK, it was philosophy. So a lot of living systems theory and quantum theory, which is fascinating, and a lot of the theorems and the work they're doing actually butts right up against the question of God, and that's very cool. And then we're back to Callison. I graduated John F. Kennedy 2 years ago, magna cum laude, after figuring out that I'm dyslexic, so that's one reason I had trouble with the more linear classes here, because I couldn't read them. But I got a handle on that. It was much easier to study, and a delight to study. I hope to turn my thesis into a book. My thesis was titled Canaries in a Coal Mine, American Youth at Risk, the cultural and spiritual problems undermining life in America. I hope to expand on it and get it published. And then my dream would be to incorporate it into a program that already exists for educational facilitation, or start my own lecture series based on it to help infuse the ingredients that I see as missing in our culture back in, because I think we have a very unhealthy culture. And that's scary because we are living in the dominant paradigm on the world right now. As world cultures go, the United States leads the pack, and if we're not healthy, the world is modeling itself after something that's not healthy. So there's a little thing on a big ship called a trim tab. Big rudder, bigger ship, turn the big rudder, it'll snap off. Put a little bitty rudder inside the big rudder, you turn the little bitty rudder, the big rudder turns, and the whole ship turns. So I think most of us in Callison are still well prepared to become the trim tabs on the rudder on our nation, in our world. And that's what I'm going for.